And a good day to you all. Welcome to another edition of the Weather Academy. And boy, some cold temperatures at this time of year, and that can affect the way planes take off, jet planes in particular. We check out, here's a nice shot. Let's go full screen with it, Cindy. And this is a typical jet that you see there at the International Airport. That's a United flight there. And of course, this particular picture, we have decent weather. But one of the things that you don't like when it comes to flight is what we call icing. As you want to come back to me here. Now, for a plane to take off, of course, you need power, you need lift. Okay, you need the ability of the plane to lift up its nose and to get some aerodynamics so that the plane can actually take off. Well, ice can prevent that from happening and really make things kind of a tough go for planes. In order for a plane to take off, it has to be able to move things. Now, on a typical jet plane, on its wings, we have what are called flaps. So the flaps tilt up or they tilt down. That allows the plane to either lift up or to lift down. Without those flaps, the plane has a very dangerous possibility of crashing. That's why a lot of times what you'll see is the workers at the airport, they'll spray what's called a de-icer on the planes, much like in your car you put in some antifreeze that keeps the water from freezing up there. De-icer, it's the same. It's a chemical that's sprayed on these planes right before they take off, so that so that the icing doesn't happen. When a plane flies up, there's a lot of moisture in the air, and just like when you have a cold drink on a hot summer day and the warm air with all its moisture hits the cold side of the glass, what happens? It starts to, we call it sweating. It doesn't really sweat, but you get that moisture on the cup itself, because the moisture is condensation, which we've talked about before, that condenses on the glass itself. Well, now the plane is like the glass, and when the plane, especially when it passes through a cloud layer, particularly a stratus cloud, it tends to have, if you don't put any de-icer on the plane, the moisture is going to condense on the wings and on the plane itself. And if it isn't de-iced, it's going to ice up. Now, the one thing you may say, okay, that's bad because it adds weight, and it does. You put ice on the plane, ice on the wings, you're going to make it heavier and make it a little more difficult to fly. But the more important dangers to that, there are several. First of all, the flaps on the plane. If they get ice on them, then the pilot won't be able to lift the flaps up and down. They'll be too iced up. If you want to land the plane, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Now, the other thing that you may not think about is that the engines of the plane take a lot of air intake. They intake that air and run it through, a lot like our own car engines. They take air from the outside. That helps the combustion of the jet fuel, or in the case of your car, the gasoline, to mix. Well, if you get a lot of humid air, and a lot of moisture going in, that moisture can start to freeze in the intake pipes, and if that builds up enough, just like a clogged drain, water won't be able to get through. Air would have a harder time getting through, and the engines would possibly fail to operate. That's not good when you're at 40,000 feet. So they have special de-icing there to allow the intake valves also to not ice up. So when it comes to flying in the cold, it is safe, and that's what the pilots and airports do to keep you safe when you fly. You can be sure that if you see them spraying it on, they're not washing the plane to make it clean. They're putting de-icer on it so that the plane can reach its destination safely. Thank you for joining the Weather Academy. Stay safe and enjoy your day.